Okie dokie. Let's do something a little bigger. Let me find a place for this one. Alright, you sit right there. Hey, let's get a drink. Get back to work. So, this is my underpainting. Thank you, Sonny. Hey, Kathy. Alright. I have two of these. Two different underpaintings. Two different colors. Probably before I start, I should clean off my easel. So hang on a second. Not my easel. Clean off my palette. Clean up my brushes. Get everything back in order. Because this will probably take a few minutes. We're doing a lot of glazing on this. So, glazing is something that's pretty new to me. I did my tigers in glazes. I have these two landscapes. I did my two tigers in glazes, which were my first ones. And then I've got one of my summer reed paintings are pre-painted or underpainted to do glaze. And then these two. They're both the same scene. They're a little bit different from one another just because, you know, they're paintings, so they're not photographs. So, alright, so let me clean the palette off here with this and get some things out of the way. Things I know I'm not going to use. You guys have any questions about any of this underpainting or the overpainting or any of that before we get started? All this dark. Not going to need any of that probably. Oh, you got back in the nick of time, Sonny. All right. So this style is going to be totally different than the last thing that I just painted. So feel free to ask questions. What do I use to varnish? Well, just to be clear, I don't varnish an oil painting until it's at least 6 months to a year old, depending on how much paint I think I have on it. If you varnish an oil painting prior to that, it's going to crack. Without a doubt, it's going to crack. So, but once I do, I'll show you. Hang on a second. I'll show you what I use. I'll go get it. It's right behind me. I'm still just cleaning up over here. I should have just cleaned the whole darn thing off to start with. Give me just a second. Probably gonna get all that off because. Hang on, Billy. I'll get to you in a second. Still cleaning off. Just about got it, I think. Some of that cat orange and stuff off here, I don't think I'll be using. Alright. Alright, hang on. Get the varnish. At least I think it's in here. This is what I use. I use Damar Grumbacher's Damar varnish. It's pretty expensive stuff, but it works really good. The Bob Ross stuff is really good too. So, but I can't buy Bob Ross things right here. So the art store doesn't carry it, but they do carry that Grumbacher stuff, and it works really good. Yvette Bronson had she does spray varnishes. I don't always do spray varnishes. Sometimes I do brush on varnish, but I use Stay Mar brush on it as well. Well, I don't know if it's going to look awesome or not, Sonny. I haven't ever done one a landscape this way, so could be pretty exciting before it's done. All right, let's get started. Because if we don't get started, we never get done. Back here. So this is some of my homemade liquid clear. I use it instead of the Bob Ross stuff. The reason I use the Bob Ross stuff for other things, but I don't use it for this because it's very lean. It's got a lot of solvent in it, and it dries fast. Make it myself, and I need my painting. My studio is relatively small, so you know I can't have painting sitting around for 2 or 3 weeks waiting for them to dry. So you know I use that. Now another thing that you can do. The only reason we're putting this on is. If you underpaint, now this is underpainted with just raw umber all the way through, and a little bit of titanium white thrown in to create some of these highlighted areas. But make sure that when you underpaint it, before you start painting it, that it's really dry. This is really dry. This has actually been. When did I paint this one? I painted this one in April, and I'm just not getting around to painting it because I just don't even know how it's going to turn out. So let's see. And actually, this is the first time I've used this, so I'm going to see how I like that. I'm not sure that my thinner oils are going to work. So I'll tell you what, I don't really like the way that feels just yet. So I'm going to apply some linseed oil over the top of that. This is refined linseed oil. Sometimes I use stand oil, but I don't have any experience using, what is it, walnut oil, I think. They have it at the art store. I've never bought any of that, but it seems like that could. It's supposed to be pretty nice. It doesn't yellow at all. Of course, I'm of an age, you know, by the time my paintings get around to yellowing, I'll be gone. So, one thing about being on the downhill side. All right, let's wipe this off. We're going to wipe this back now. See if there's any questions. Oh yeah, I'm gonna explain the glazing. I'll explain it all to the best of my ability. This is gonna be interesting because I have a little more texture here than I thought I was gonna have, but it's all right. Start with the sky, but before I do that, I need a cup. Luckily, I just got a whole shipment of cups in. I don't normally paint out of these cups, but I'm going to today. Just because I want to put linseed oil in this. Because I don't want to keep dipping my brush into this pure linseed oil. And then have it contaminate it. So, alright, so I got about this much. And that should be more than enough to do the whole painting. So let's get to it. Let's get some titanium white. And we'll just start with that and go from there. I think I'll use a large flat brush. You know, I've thought about this painting for so long, I'm actually breaking out in a sweat. I need to calm down. Alright, and titanium white. Now, to this titanium white, I've got like, this is more paint on the brush than I'm going to carry to the canvas. So, that's important to do. So, on the side, what I'm doing on my easel, I'm just, every once in a while, I'm just dipping just the edge of the brush, just like that. Just the edge of the brush into this linseed oil. And then I'm creating a little puddle of paint on the side. From there, I'm taking the brush to the side, to an empty spot on the easel, and I'm wiping it out. So that I just have just a faint amount of paint. Okay, so here we go. And let's start off right here. This is going to be a nice light spot right here in the middle. And then we're going to go up here on the top. Yeah, Sonny, I think once I get, I'm just going back to the oil just a little bit. I don't want too much oil up there. If you put too much oil up there, it's going to run. And that seems to be a little too much oil. So let's wipe it off. Try it again. There we go. That's better. Now, in putting these glazes on, you want to use a loose stroke. You know, in the Bob Ross stuff, you kind of do like this X stroke thing. Yeah, that's okay, but it's not. It doesn't really work too good for glazing, really. So, picking up just a dab of paint on the side. Let me show you my easel. If I show you my palette, I think you can understand this a little better. Don't make fun of my messed up palette. All right, so I'm taking the paint out of this side. All right, I'm taking a dip, and I'm bringing it over, and I'm picking up just a tad bit of paint to go with it, and then I'm pulling it over here to the side under cool highlight, and I'm just wiping it out and wiping it out until I have most of the paint out of the brush. Any questions on that part? Oh, thank you, Em. We're just glazing this on really light. Now this time I'm just picking up right out of the puddle because I don't want to pick up a lot of paint. And it's okay for some. We want some of that undertone to show through, that sienna color. It is sienna. I started saying it's not sienna. It is. It isn't sienna. It isn't. No, it's raw umber. Sorry. And we're going to smooth that out. It's a little too bright compared to the rest of that up there. So we kind of continue to glaze these high spots here. And you notice we're not trying to cover that. We're not trying to cover it. We're just, you should be able to see when you glaze over it. Let me show you real quick. Let me see if I can do it right here. I'm going to use this dark part of this barn to show you this. So you should be able to just glaze over it, just pull it down, and you should still be able to see through it. Can you see that? Does that show up for you guys? If you look right here, you can see where it's shining through. I'm just going to blend that off with my finger. I can't wipe that with a towel. Not with a baby wipe, but. Alright, so we're just kind of glazing that over the top of that color. So I want to hit all these highlight spots to start with. Glazing just a, oh, you know what? I've got to put my oil back over here. being very loose with this stroke. We're picking up, you're not going to use hardly any paint on this at all. Matter of fact, when I do a Bob Ross style paint, I have to empty my brush cleaning thing like every time I do, not every time I do a painting, but every time I do a session, I have to empty that out. And I've done half a dozen paintings in this style now, and I only had to empty it one time, and it was just because I was going to not be painting for a couple days, so I just cleaned it out. There was hardly no thinner in the bottom at all. And let this kind of fade. I'm going to let the brush be kind of empty, and we're just going to kind of fade up into this color. Scrub a little bit of that on. Not too bad. Not too much. Okay. Still no questions. Okay. All right. I'm good. I'm good if you're good. I'm going to brighten this up a little bit right here in the corner where the sun's shining down on these trees. You're using the underpainting to set all the undertones for you. Of course, down the road, we want to keep the, you can't go crazy with the strokes on this road because it's got to be horizontal, right? So. And we'll switch off a titanium white here in a minute and do some other things. But I'm not using very much oil right here on this spot, but I am using a little bit, not much. I'm just using the oil that's on the canvas. The real thing that I'm wondering about as I start to do this is Emily and I have talked about this barn a lot, and well, we'll see. All right, that time I picked up a little, not enough paint. So hopefully by now, on these glazes, on this glazing part, you're starting to be able to see how this is starting to play out a little bit. Just rubbing that on, rubbing that in. Of course, on the road, we're staying horizontal because we want it to stay horizontal. All right. Now, let's see. I think we're going to start off with some ultramarine blue. I went to the store and bought some ultramarine blue the other day because I knew I didn't have any. And I came home and then I found 4 tubes of ultramarine blue to go with the ultramarine blue that I brought home. So I have plenty of ultramarine blue. So let's use some. Let me see if I can get the lid off of this one. This will be interesting. This is this tube of paint, this Grumbacher tube of paint is 25 years old, at least. I found it in a flea market. And I've used up the other tubes that I bought, I think pretty much all of them. They're so old that you can almost never get the lid off. So I have to cut the bottom off of it and go from there. So hang on. I'll tell you what though, so far, they've just been performing magnificently. So let's see what we got here. Let's move that to, where do we want to put it? We'll put it right here for now. All right. Thank you, Grumbacher. All right. Okay, so we're going to start off with some ultramarine blue. And just a touch of oil. But we're going to go right back over into this puddle that we've created of titanium white and pick up some of that. And we're going to kind of start fading. Fading this in. And please, if I start, as I start to paint, sometimes I really start concentrating and I get quieter and quieter. And that's not very entertaining. So if I start to do that, let me know. I'll go through this corner where it's a little darker. I'll start to work this way out. Same thing on this side. I'm going to blend all this in a minute. Now, it's okay for that. We want that undertone to show through a little bit and give you some activity in the sky. And just a little bit more Flurry Blue this time. It's a very transparent color. Alright. Now let's go back with the lighter color. Just scrub it right over the top of these trees. Mixing kind of a little bit of the light and dark there together because we want that, put a little movement in the sky. We have to add some bushes on that side right there, I think. All right, now that's good. Let's just blend all that. So I'm going to switch over to a larger flat brush. I think before I do that though, let's get some. I think I'll add a little bit of quinacridone magenta to this. I think I'm going to go right in here, this part. I'm not going to try to wipe all of it away. I'm just going to wipe some of it away. A touch of oil. Think just wiping the brush out. I'm not going to actually so all these colors are transparent. I'm going to continue to use this flat brush. I'm just going to kind of pull these colors out together. super, super, super small amounts of paint. Okay, this brush, I might switch to a larger flat brush. Start blending all this now. Up here in the sky. Bringing all that light and dark back together. Thank you, Emily. I think I still need though. I'm almost happy with this guy. I tell you what, I think what I'm going to do is rather than add more paint to that, I'm going to pull some paint back. So let's try. I think like right. Okay, maybe I'll add a little bit of paint. Yeah. The slightest amount of paint. Like right here on this edge. So I'm adding a little, teensy little bit of paint, but more than anything, I'm pulling paint off. But
are you streaming?
Mm-hmm.
After 2.
Yeah, I set my thing. I have to stop here in a second, guys, and grab it. We can talk and ask questions while I have to eat something real quick. All right, look at that. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so before we jump to the next part, I'll tell you what, let's add, well, hang on, let's do this just a little bit right down here. Let's add just a little bit of that glow down in here. Just a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit of reflected light. Might change that a little bit. Make it a little more blue in a minute. All right, hang on. I gotta grab a protein bar. I'm diabetic, so yesterday I got to painting and I forgot to eat twice. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad for me. Bad for my blood sugar. Hang on a second. Won't take 2 seconds. I had a shake, which is really like lunch. All right, it's coming to life. Okay. So, while I'm eating this, any questions? I know, right? No, I've never painted a big rainbow. I haven't. Well, I can see how you could do it. No, I have to think about rainbows. I know my mom told me there was talk of food in my mouth, but she ain't here. Don't tell her I said that. I always think of rainbows like just all these different layers, and they're sharp on the edge, but they're not. So it seems like it'd be really easy to do something with that. Okay. So, you know, one thing I didn't say I should have told you. As you're glazing this stuff, if you get like, let's say you got to here, and you're happy with that part, you can actually stop and let it dry. Trees and birds and all. Birds? No, I don't do birds. Now you're just pushing me some more, aren't you? Okay. Stretching my boundaries. Growing me up. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh, you can let this, let's say I was happy with this part. I can let that dry. And once it's dry, you can come back and oil the painting back up again, and then go ahead and go a little bit farther. So if you went a little bit farther, and let's say, say I was happy right here, and I came back, and I oiled it back up after it's dry, oiled it back up, and I painted the barn. And I didn't like the barn. Well, I could just take a rag and wipe it off. Just take mineral spirits and just wipe it off. And then wipe it down with a towel and let it dry, which take an hour, and do it again. Re-oil it, repaint it, until I get it the way I like it. And then I get the barn where I liked it. You can let that dry, and then come back and re-oil it, and do the trees, if you wanted to. Which I don't, but you could. Okay, so maybe silhouettes of birds. Man, you're tough on me. Alright, let's think about what I got on the palette here. So, you know, I just don't want sap green floating around back here in the back. So, I'm going to mix a blue. So let me clean my brush here. I got some food in me now, so that should be good for a little bit. Yeah, my blood sugar really took a plummet yesterday. Ugh. Oh, not good. It was bad for me. Alright, so I still got some of this bismuth yellow. I'm going to take some of that. Some ultramarine blue. Maybe a little bit more ultramarine blue. I don't want it to be too dark though, so. Alright. And just a little bit of oil. Maybe a little bit more yellow for this background color. Let's try that. Let's see. Let's test this color. Let's test it back here. Oh yeah, I like that. That's kind of nice. We're just using kind of a dabby touch. It's okay to go up in the sky with it a little bit. That's the alarm telling me I need to eat. My wife beat me to it. All right. All right. Let's clean this up. All right. So let's go back up here. Now you can see. You want that underpainting to show through because it gives you those shadows, and that's nice. That's nice the way it does that. Not that you can't do that with oils. You can. With regular oils, but I think I want to add. So, another good thing about this technique is you can add stuff as you go. It doesn't have to stay the way it is. So, and it's not going to. So let me get some. Let's get some burnt umber. I'm gonna need some out on the palette anyway. I'm gonna add just a few little indications of tree branches back here in these trees. How's that contrast to show up? That looks pretty good on the monitor. What do you guys think? Need a gray side on it in acrylics? I don't know what that means. Oh, you mean like like a sign above the thing. Is that what you mean, Sonny? I don't know what you mean. Tell me what you mean. Tell me what you mean, kiddo. I'm just kind of mixing a color here for some trunks. Back here in the back. Get off my head. It flies on my head now. Yeah, so you just add these right in like that. And you can add them in anywhere. That's cool. I don't need a lot of them. I just need a couple back there. All right. Back to this brush. You see him sitting on my head? Yeah, he was. You know what his name is? This fly? His name is Militia. Okay, I tickled myself. That's funny. All right. So while I'm trying to get control of myself again, let's just blend the bottom of this a little bit. I just want to soften this edge. Take these brush strokes out. Yeah, that's good. Now we'll start putting some more trees in. So I'm not going to do much of the color. I'm just going to add a little bit of burnt umber to it. Start putting in some more. Bringing that next layer of trees. That one area right there. Maybe let's add just a little bit of that, a little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of green, a little bit of burnt umber again. Maybe kind of. Like flag it off my head. All right. Now I want to keep all that really soft, so we're going to blend all this. Keep all that back there. Keep all that back there, Way, way, way off in the distance. And then let's see, let's take some of that green that we've got going and let's add just a touch of blue. I don't use a lot of black in my paintings at all. We'll start bringing it in like right around in here. Bring it right up on against the barn. Right, so you see we've darkened the green without using any black, because black desaturates it a lot, that color. It kills the color. I don't really want to do that. And I'm going to come back and add a little bit more highlight to this in a second. But we're just going to get it in here for right now. I'm just kind of scrumbling these trees in there. When you let a painting dry, I want to add more to it. Yep, just oil the oil. You can do it either way. Usually I just oil the whole painting back over. Then I don't have to remember where I did. or I don't have to start doing it in the middle of, you know, because I missed a spot. So I just do the whole darn thing. So you see, we've not lost the green. We just darkened it with this blue. It doesn't even have a turquoise look to it. It just kind of. I'll tell you, let's see. Before I get too much over that way, I want to let's finish this side up to that grassy area probably. This grassy area. This white area is going to be a grassy area. So then we'll blend it, and then we'll do highlights and stuff. We're using just tiny, tiny, tiny little bits of paint. And my paint pile ran out. Alright, hang on. Make some more paint. Got yellow on my brush. Alright, hang on. So I'm kind of learning as I've made this new palette, and I've adjusted the colors once. I'm going to adjust them again. I've kind of learned like where are the most convenient places for me to have the different colors. I have the yellow right below the green, and that coming down from blue, that seemed to make sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to me in a practical way. So I'll probably, next time I update the palette, the easel, the palette, I'll probably do something with that. Hang on, I'll take questions again here in just a second. I just want to get this one part out of here. This part done. All right. Okay. I don't need to clean the brush, but I'm going to clean the brush. He's sitting back on the phone again now. I don't know what his major malfunction is. He's a fly. What can I say? All right. I'm going to add some highlight to these trees a little bit. So let's just kind of. Which goes back to the underpainting, right? If you think about the underpainting. You can see here you got different, how I did that highlight. I probably didn't even actually need that texture in the underpainting, but yeah, it's okay. It worked out all right. That's why you keep doing different stuff. You just keep learning different things. Or at least I do. Okay. Let's add a couple of tree things in there. Just tell them to go a little darker. See how this looks. Let's just go straight umber. And maybe throw a couple little lighter colored ones in here and there. What do y'all think? How's it looking? Need to name him. You didn't like my name? Told you his name was Militia. That don't work. That don't work for you probably though. All right. let's let's go to a small filbert. Then we'll go to this burnt umber color. Let's put these trees in. Now at this point, you can make your trees bigger, longer, shorter, you know, rounder. I don't know if you can make them shorter now that I said that. You can make them taller. Alright, let me add some of that color on it up in this way, like way up here, all the way down this branch goes, and that, all that's not all that's going to show, of course, but now I think in the other one, I think in the other painting, when I do this, I think this part here, I think I'll make it more fall. Like, how about Copilot? Yeah, he keeps us. Yeah. Unfortunately, he thinks my head is the landing zone. That will never do. Alright, let's see. Let's go with. How does this look? I know I jumped painting the other side of the painting again, but now I'm going to kind of scrumble it in to give it some. I'm going to let some of that brown show through. That'd be kind of nice. I think on this side a little bit more green right there. I'm just barely touching it. Look how little paint's on this brush. So is it a little bitty bit of green? She's painting with the tip of the brush. Plus, I think in the other painting I did, we'll scrumble that up into the horse. Alright. I think I want a little bit more dark in that, though. I think up in this area. Seems more, you know. Okay, now I'm just going to blend that a little bit. So I'm just taking the, let's say at the end of this tube is where the two colors of paint meet. So I'm going to split this brush on the middle like that and go right down the two lines and blend them together like that until they look nice and one color blended. So you can't tell where one color starts and another color stops. All right, I kind of like that. How's that look? Yeah, it looks okay. All right. Okay, let's get. So I got ultramarine blue on the edge of this tree right here, and I think I kind of like that. I'll probably leave some of that in there. But I think I'll also put some more like in here. I'm not going to leave it blue, but it'll pick up some of that shadow color. All right, let's start working on the tree then. Clean this brush. It's the wrong brush anyway. The reason it's so funny. That's why it's so funny. That's right. Okay. Let's deal with some of the color here we got going on. All right, so I think this part back here, originally I thought I was going to make that part of the sky, but I don't think I am. I think I'm just going to make that part of the background tree stuff. So let's get some color scrubbed in here. And we'll paint the bushes and stuff back in a minute. And we'll steal some paint from over here. Okay, I guess we will. Now we will. Don't worry, we'll touch that tree back up in a second too. And we'll let a little bit of that color show through these trees. So I'm going to do something a little different than what I had planned. Let me paint this back in real quick, just for reference sake. I think I want a bunch of this yellow. Yeah, there it goes. Now it's coming in. Put some of this yellow in this tree. We'll come back with green, but I want some of that, a little bit of that yellowish of the sky stuff. Maybe a little bit of that magenta to show through different parts here. All right, now we start putting the tree stuff in. In a minute. Okay. Now, let's start putting some green in. So we'll start off with this bluier green. I'm using kind of a circular stroke. Pick up a little bit of that brown, that's okay. Did you ever been out flying since you guys went out, Emily? A pet praying mantis. Hey! Or, how about a spider? There's some spiders around here of late. So picking up that blue-green there, it looks pretty nice. Alright, let's highlight that now. We're going to clean the brush and switch brushes. Back to my highlight brush. I'm going to paint another bush and stuff in over there too. So. Touch of oil. A little more oil now than first time. Because we're painting over, a fatter consistency. So. just going to let it pick up the paint as it goes. We'll push a little harder. We can't get any more color that we want. But this side of the tree is going to be a little bit lighter than the other side of the tree. Pick up a little bit more color. A little bit more. There we go. Let the color run out on this side. Yeah, I like it. All right. A little darker right here where these two trees meet. This to kind of give me some separation there, like that. There we go. All right. Let's use some of that darker color right here along the darker green. This is the color I mixed. This is coming out of phthalo blue and that bismuth yellow. We may have to come back and touch some of this in a minute, but it's okay. These bushes don't attract a lot of attention, but we're going to put them in here like that. We'll cover up that spot there. Okay. And then maybe, let's see, let's just stick with the brown. And use that to glaze in this road part in the, there we go. Like that. We're going to do the building last.